Does anyone remember Adventure Time? I'm not gonna waste any time on this one. Today we're gonna look at 2 episodes of an all-time Cartoon Network classic, Adventure Time. I'll be honest, I wasn't gonna look at this show anytime soon because I just hadn't watched that many episodes growing up. My most vivid memory with this show was just watching the first season or so throughout my first year of high school, so I'm quite the Adventure Time virgin, so to speak. So I thought it'd be fun to start by looking at an episode from the first season of the series, and then immediately watch a second episode, this time from one of the last seasons of the series. See what differences I notice, see how much weirder it does or doesn't get.
He broke the skin, dude!
I'm pretty much going into this completely blind, so this might suck. This episode is called What is Life? How fitting, considering I'm extremely depressed and googled these exact words last night. We start our adventure by meeting Finn the human and Jake the dog. These are the main characters. I'm pretty sure they're best friends and they're both just extremely fucking weird. So Jake is bringing in a garbage bag filled with butter. I'm not kidding, that's how it starts. And when Finn asks what it's for, we get the entire basis of this episode.
Pranks.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
So I guess throwing a trash bag full of dairy product at someone's face is considered a prank now. Maybe Prank Invasion is back. I don't know.
What up, invaders?
Finn gets kind of tilted and basically tells Jake that he better watch his back because when the opportunity arrives, Finn won't hesitate to prank him back. Jake honestly just doesn't care at all. He gives Finn an elbozo and starts sleepwalking away. This show is so random. How epic. So Finn is looking through a book to brainstorm some ideas for a revenge prank on Jake. He sees things like a unicorn, a battleship, the high school crush of every competitive League of Legends player, that sort of thing. However, he does actually find something useful. Finn sees a picture of a pie, which gives him the brilliant idea of a prank to throw pies at Jake's face forever. Like, until he dies. But Darzii, I hear you saying, how will Finn throw pies at Jake's face forever? Doesn't he have drugs to take or ugly faces to make? He does, actually, which is exactly why Finn builds a robot to do it for him. Listen, the show doesn't really explain how this thing is made. Finn basically just uses the fuse ability from Tears of the Kingdom on a bunch of random garbage and a circuit board, and once it gets hit by lightning, the robot just comes to life. The robot is kind of oblivious in like a cute way, and then we see him introduce himself to Finn.
My name is Neptr, which stands for Never-Ending Pie-Throwing Robot.
You're exactly the kind of robot I was trying to make.
But of course, this is a cartoon, so there's some sort of wacky cartoon problem. Basically, Neptr can't throw very well, or make pies very well, or move very well. He's kind of fucking useless, actually. But Finn figures out that if they can get a hold of some more lightning power, this should fix all of Neptr's issues, and they can finally prank Jake. Finn takes the robot to the Ice Kingdom, where he thinks they can steal some lightning power. But before they can enter the mountain castle thing, we get this scene.
Did y'all smack me into that mountain on purpose? Yeah! These guys are grade A pranksters.
What's important to note here is that Finn uses this as a lesson to teach Neptr about pranking. Anyway, they break into the ice castle and sneak around trying to find some of that delicious lightning power when we're all of a sudden introduced to a character named the Ice King. And Gunter. Gunther? I don't know. The penguin. At first glance, the Ice King is probably everything you'd expect from a cartoon villain, but under that crown, he's a sad and lonely man who constantly struggles with his mental illnesses. He's also noted as a complex depiction of social isolation, which I think we all understand can be extremely exhausting. So the Ice King is hardcore gaming on his new tablet, and Finn is still trying to find where the lightning power is. Hey, let's check in on Jake real quick.
I may wake up at any moment. Nah, I'm still asleep.
Well, that's good. The Ice King gets up and insults Gunter for a little bit, and Finn decides to prank him by dropping an icicle in his pants. It's hilarious, trust me. And then Neptr gets even more excited to start pranking Jake because he just saw a prank happen live. Finn ends up accidentally finding the power room, which triggers an alarm, so the Ice King actually heads down there to see what's going on. The Ice King catches them in the act and sadly makes the quick decision to destroy his own lightning power and kill Neptr. This is so sad.
Oh yeah, that's what we wanted to happen.
So now Neptr is fully functional, I guess, and all his parts work properly. But him and Finn still need to escape out of the ice castle alive. So how do they do this, you're asking? By throwing fucking pies. Of course, that's what he does. He's a pie-throwing robot. The boys are now escaping the castle with help from the balloons that got them there in the first place. But you know these guys are tricky little pranksters, so they just let them fall and die. Also, they stole Finn's wallet.
I got his wallet.
We then see the Ice King having a weird sort of sentimental moment, saying the random robot he just zapped filled him with a sense of deep longing. That's actually kind of sad. Also, the balloons did help Finn and Neptr back home and are really happy about it.
Finally, we can die!
But something is feeling off about Neptr now. He's talking about how he has the sudden urge to kidnap princesses. Sounds like someone else we might know. Anyway, Finn is about to open the door to his treehouse home thing when all of a sudden, the Ice King comes out of nowhere. Finn tries to fight him, but is literally just a human at this point, so he fails, obviously. We find out that the Ice King followed them because he wanted to take Neptr back with him to the Ice Kingdom. He actually calls Neptr his son, which What? On one hand, Finn is the one who created Neptr and was there when he was brought to life, but on the other hand, it was the Ice King who was able to unleash Neptr's full potential. We get this intense moment where Neptr has to choose between the two, and believe it or not, Neptr is kind of torn by this decision. To help persuade him, the Ice King teleports them to something he calls his imagination zone. Here, Neptr is shown a bunch of different princesses that the Ice King fantasizes over. It's a little weird and reminds me of every person with an anime PFP on Twitter. Anyway, the decision seems clear-cut. Neptr is going to choose the Ice King. But then, Neptr remembers how excited he was to start pranking people. Remember the prank from the balloons? How funny was that? Neptr decides to ultimately go with Finn, because prank funny. Finn kicks the shit out of the Ice King, and the two prank Jake together. The episode ends with the viewer entering the Ice King's imagination zone once again, and seeing him share a sentimental moment with his son, Neptr.
Shall we capture princesses now, Poppy?
No, let's just stay here a little longer, son.
I love you forever, Poppy.
That's also kind of sad. I hope the Ice King is okay. Anyway, that was the first episode completed, and honestly, shit's a banger. Didn't expect any less. But does it hold up to more recent standards? Let's run it back and find out. This next episode is called Orb. We start with Finn, Jake, and a character called Bimo on a ship surrounded by bananas.
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 Bimo, it's your turn to say bananas.
Despite what we just watched and you might believe, Bimo is a completely different entity than Neptr, I'm pretty sure. From what I read online, Bimo is a loyal, trusting, and helpful robot who is protective of Finn and Jake. He's also a video game console, a portable electrical outlet, a computer, a music player, a VCR, a video player, a video editor, a roommate, a camera, an alarm clock, a toaster, a flashlight, a strobe light, a skateboarder, a soccer player, a tape player, a chef, and a detective. Of course. So Bimo tells the boys that there's this strange cloud following them and their boat. Turns out Jordan Peele is a very big fan of Adventure Time, and this episode is solely responsible for the movie note. Don't fact check that, it's true. The boys basically don't give a shit about the weird moving clouds, so everyone just heads to bed. And then we get this weird transition thing that implies we're looking into Jake's dream. Believe it or not, his dream is basically just a shitty sitcom. It's got the over-the-top set, it's got the laugh track, there's some weird cutaways.
Oh boy. I can see where this is going.
Throughout Jake's dream, he talks to his half-brother Jermaine. They teleport to a couple locations that I've never seen before because I haven't watched the show. There's a weird hallway place, there's a broken, burnt-down house. At one point, they're in the literal void. I'm guessing these places mean something. That's cool. Let me know if they do. Anyway, that's basically all that happens, and then we cut to Finn's dream. In this dream, Finn is just floating around above the clouds.
No more walking for this guy. Just gonna float around like a chubby bat.
He sees something called a water nymph. Her name is Denise, I think, is what the wiki said. It looks like she controls the clouds and makes some cool shapes out of them. And then Finn pokes his head into a cloud and sees, the fuck is that? Like a wolf with a snapback dancing to disco with 3 rotten bananas? And is that a tiny snail? I don't know, dude. This shit cannot mean anything. There's no way. Anyway, we then cut to Bimo's dream. In this one, he's the director of a play. And that's basically it, because the orb shows up in the real world. The orb was hiding behind the cloud. Who would have guessed? The orb gets oddly close to all 3 of them, who are still sleeping, by the way. We then cut to Jake's dream again, and I'm suddenly realizing that we're probably going to be jumping from dream to dream in this episode, so this might have been a really complicated episode to cover. But fuck it, I already wrote this part, so whatever. Jake is digging a hole in his house for some reason, and all we see is the orb's shadow slowly getting closer to him. Meanwhile, in Finn's dream, he meets up with Princess Bubblegum. She's a princess, but there's something a little off. When Finn tries to show off his flying powers, he realizes that they're gone. He can't fly anymore. And then, of course, a weird cloud with an eye on it approaches Finn, and Princess Bubblegum loses all her teeth. She must be British. Now in Bimo's dream, his play is basically gone to shit. Bimo hates what he sees and demands that he talk to the director, despite him being the director.
The director's right this way, director. Director? The director's here to see you.
It's starting to get a little weird. Try to keep up. So Jake is now done digging his hole, but realizes that the hole actually just never happened at all. And worst of all, his dad is somehow stuck underneath the floor now. That makes sense. The next part with Jake's mom is really hard to walk through, so I'll just show it.
I'm sure this is all really symbolic, but it's dang comfy.
I don't like where this is headed. I'm out of here.
I'm guessing she wasn't a good mom, or maybe he misses her a lot. I don't know. Finn is now trying to put the British girl's teeth back together, but suddenly gets pulled underground. And when he re-emerges, he's now in Jake's dream. But then, plot twist, they're all in Bimo's dream. This is where things honestly just become borderline unexplainable.
Your lines.
Anyway, all 3 of them figure out that they're inside each other's dreams, and then the floor breaks like that one episode in Squid Game. Our characters are essentially just falling forever at this point. Jake says some funny stuff about how he's bored and wishes he had a puzzle to pass the time. And oddly enough, this gets Finn thinking, which you should know by now is extremely dangerous. Finn grabs some of the random items that are falling with them in this hole and puts them on the iCloud thing, and the orb from real life appears, obviously. Turns out the orb is a nightmare princess and entered everyone's dream so she could communicate with everyone. It also turns out that the nightmare princess just wanted some bananas. That's it. That's what this whole episode was about. She takes some bananas on the boat, and then in return, she gives them this weird red crystal thing. It probably means something. And then the episode ends with this oddly unsettling scene.
Ooh la la.
How's it look, Bimo?
Like a dream.
And that's adventure time. What were they doing on the boat? What was the weird red crystal? Why does Finn have beautiful long blonde hair? I don't know the answers to these questions, but I'm sure there's a good reason out there somewhere. All in all, a really fun show. It's hard to judge the whole early episode versus later episode thing based off of 2 random episodes I picked. The later one felt a lot more random, I guess, and kind of like a filler episode. I'm not sure if that's the case for most of the later episodes, but I can say I actually enjoyed both. I can easily see myself getting invested in some of these characters, especially the Ice King. I hope he's okay. But if you enjoyed it, please go check out more episodes when you have the time and watch some of my other cartoon videos. They're just like this. They're just as good. Please go watch. Paul Abdul scores this one a solid 5 Gunters out of 5. And yeah, thanks for watching.